Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. Good morning, it's 8 o'clock on Saturday the 8th of August. Just making my way down to the land for another weekend. As usual, not quite sure what we'll get done, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land, and it's another gloriously sunny day. It's been really ridiculously hot this week. We've had temperatures of 34, 35, 36 and touching on 37 pretty much all of this week, and judging by that sun up there in the sky, I think it's going to be another one of those days today. Anyway, I'll make my way into the cabin, get myself unlocked and unpacked, and then we'll see what we can get done today. Well, as usual, first things first, I've opened up the polytunnel, let a bit of fresh air in. It's a little bit breezy today with this mega sunshine, but hopefully that'll be fine during the day while I'm down here. Let's have a little quick whiz around the various raised beds. This mixed pumpkin and squash one, expanding out over the field and producing, you can see those down there. I think they're squash rather than pumpkin, not quite sure on the shape yet, but there are quite a few of those scattered around amongst this bed, and it is still putting out flowers. It's been a real exercise trying to keep up with the watering this week outside. These Jerusalem artichokes, still no flowers, though having spoken to my neighbour who's grown these for quite some time, hi Gary, he tells me that they don't always flower, and irrespective of whether they flower or they don't, you still get tubers that you can eat. So we'll let them plod along through the season and see what happens later in the year when we harvest those. I'll come back to the polytunnel in a minute. I have done a little bit of work as I've popped in at night to water on these raised beds. I think there's a little video clip somewhere I can throw in where I cleared out a lot of the cauliflower and broccoli that was in those beds. Well, this is just a very quick midweek visit. I'm having a bit of a clear out of the raised beds for the broccoli and the cauliflower that's no longer producing. Massive storm last night, so I just wanted to double check that the polytunnel was still standing, which it is. And while I was here, I just couldn't help myself. I wanted to have a look and see what could be taken out of these raised beds ready for the next batch of seedlings to go in. So they're looking pretty bare. This one with a bloody rabbit hole in it is cleared out, apart from there's just 3 little broccoli plants there that are still producing. So while they're still producing, I thought I would leave those in. There's more heads coming there. The other raised bed, that's pretty much completely gone now. Again, I've left a couple in because they're still producing heads. This side has got garlic in, and I do believe there's some signs of life there with the garlic. But this side is ready, or it will be once I pop some fertiliser on it, for new seedlings. This other one is pretty much as it was, and at the weekend I'll try harvesting some of these carrots. Let you see how they're gone on. The tomatoes outside, they're still standing, so I guess that's one thing. They survived the winds last night, so that's good. But yeah, I'm just going to quickly water the polytunnel, and then that'll be it. I'll incorporate this into the video at the weekend for you. Potatoes, I'm going to leave these for another couple of weeks because there is still quite fresh green growth on some of them, and I don't want to have a disappointment of getting out lots and lots of baby potatoes. This one's still got quite some time to go yet, because that went in a few weeks after those other 2 barrels. In terms of the raised beds, I have been clearing out, so there's not much left. That stray cabbage is still there, although it looks like the butterflies have been really enjoying that. Not sure how much of it will be left for me later. And I've left a couple of these broccoli in that are still forming new heads. Those beetroot that I put in, they seem to be putting on quite a bit of growth now, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with those. This bed, again, like the other one, there's a couple of broccoli plants in there that are still producing some heads, so I'm going to leave those and see what happens over the next couple of weeks. If they don't produce much, they'll come out as well and free up space for the seedlings that are growing in the polytunnel. In this area, you might remember, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I planted some garlic. Now, I don't know if you can see from here, let me take this netting off so I can get in a bit closer. But we have got garlic coming through there. Don't know how well it's going to show on this video. So there are quite a few of these coming through, which is very encouraging. I put a couple of stray onion seeds in there. No sign of those yet, but we'll come to the onions in a minute. The final raised bed, I keep meaning to pick this seed on these carrots, and by the looks of it, they're actually starting to self-seed in that pot. I will get round to that today, I promise. We've got carrots in pots there, and those onions are putting on quite significant growth. I'm quite pleased with those. They were in late, really, but it was more of an experiment to see what happened with those little bulbs, and to give me something back end of the season. And I think I'm going to get some quite good results out of those pots. Everything here is a bit of an experiment, trying to see what works and what doesn't. And I will pull out one of these pots of carrots today, just so they can have a look, because the ones that I pulled, oh, will that be 2 weeks ago, were really nice. They were a little bit on the smaller side, but in taste they were really excellent. So I'm quite looking forward to pulling another pot of those today. The squash, doing well, really, it has to be said. Despite the best efforts of the sun, it's putting out some mega flowers. These are really big flowers, and lots of them. So I'm quite hopeful I'm going to get some decent squash fruit off this year. And the flowers are everywhere now. I mean, look at that. That looks beautiful down there. Look at those pollen stamens in there. Don't know how well this is coming out in the video, but that's really pretty. Really pretty. Pumpkin, despite the best efforts of the rabbits, still hanging in there. I am amazed that that's survived, to be honest, because the roots must have been disturbed so many times this year, and they have been eating or trying to eat these pumpkins. But to be fair, we are getting quite a lot of fruit down here. Quite a few pumpkins growing. That's a quite big one down there. It's coming up to the size of my hand now. So yeah, we'll see, I guess. I can't say that I'm a great fan of pumpkin. It's been more of an experiment than anything else. I'm really looking forward to the squash, I have to say. So there we go. That's the raised beds. Let's take a little look inside the polytunnel. I've left this till last, because when I opened the door the heat was unbelievable. Where to start? Let's start with this blueberry, which is still putting on fresh new growth. I've kind of tidied it up a little bit and given it some support, and I think next year that's going to be a really good productive plant. The peas still putting out pods, it has to be said, and I keep eating these. I have left a few to go to seed. I'll show you those in a minute. Again, that's been a bit of an experiment this year, and a lot of lessons learned there in terms of where they like to be. The cucumber, still putting out fruit. I have had some of those, but there is still fruit coming, quite a lot of it still, so that's encouraging, and it is still putting out a bit of growth. The smaller blueberry bush, that really has put on a lot of growth, and you can see I've given that a bit of support as well now. Amazing result for that, really, considering the size that it was when I popped it in there. And the cranberry, which is still putting out fruit. I'm going to be quite interested to see how they are, and that needs to go into a bigger pot for next year. That's the little peas that I took out for seed. I might leave some more in, I don't know. We'll see how we get on. Tomato plants. I have been tidying these up and plucking out some of the side shoots, but they have gone crackers in terms of growth, and we are getting, not many it has to be said, but we are getting tomatoes on most of these plants as I scroll around them. We've got tomatoes there, we've got some more there. So after all of that fuss, although I'm not going to get a huge crop off these, definitely, I have at least got some tomatoes. You can see buried in the back there. There's a tomato there. There's another little baby one over there. So we have got some. Those little tiny, I feel ashamed really saying this, but I'd left those in the seed tray, and they were desperately sad looking plants, but they have started to grow, so it's going to be interesting to see how they get on over the next few weeks. There's even a little tiny baby one there. I don't quite know where that came from, but anyway, we'll see what happens with those. Strawberries, a lot of work over the last week to try and capture as many new plants as possible by planting out all of these little runners that they keep putting out. I'm starting to run out of places to put those. There's that many of them now, but that's generally the idea. I want to get as many plants as I can for next year, so all these little side shoots, they're putting on really nice decent growth now. Can't complain about those at all. So that's going to be lots of nice new plants for me next year. And it is still, you can see down there or not, it is still putting out strawberries, which is really nice. Finally, last but not least, the fig, still putting out nice new growth. I do have high hopes for that. It has had a little bit of sun scorching. You would have thought figs, it wouldn't have a problem with the sun, but it clearly has. Or perhaps it's this watering issue that I've struggled with over the last few months. Talking about which, having changed the pump and moved the tank onto the floor, fingers crossed, everything seems to be okay with that now. And in fact, it's due to come on at, I think it's 9:30. What time is it now? 8:53. So if I remember, I'll come back to that, and you can see what happens when it turns on. There's bravery on my part. Let's, fingers crossed, hope it does come on. New seedlings. You remember a couple of weeks ago I popped in a bucket of carrots. They are starting to appear now, some bigger than others. And I've got some seedlings coming for the cauliflower in these trays here. You can clearly see not all of them germinated, though having said that, there is still time, because I can see a small one peeking out there, look. This one here. So some might be coming later than others. I also last week planted out these extra 4 buckets of carrots. No sign of anything there yet, but that's not surprising, it's only been a week. But what is surprising, I also at the same time planted out these 2 trays of cauliflower, and you can see there's already, well, they're everywhere actually. They're already starting to come through. That tray's going crazy. This one, there's only the odd 1 or 2 that have come through, but for a week I don't think that's bad at all. And if they continue, then I'm definitely going to have decent crops of cauliflowers as we head in towards the winter. Finally, in these trays, this is a definite experiment. I just took some cuttings of blueberry and cranberry. Just literally slipped off ends of some of the branches just to see what happens, and I'm curious to see if they do actually root and start to grow. I might put a curse on them now by saying this, but given the fact that they are still green, they've not instantly shriveled and died, who knows, they might actually work. So we'll see, I guess, in future videos. Anyway, that's the polytunnel. So we are making progress with this. We are actually finally seeing some tomatoes. So it's not a complete failure. But as with everything that I'm doing, it is lessons learned as you go along. Without actually trying this stuff, you're never going to know what works and what doesn't. And I'd rather try it now, to be honest, while we're not having a crisis, than trying to learn stuff as you go along during a crisis, particularly when supplies might not be available. I mean, things like compost, yeah, you can get it in the shops now, but you're not going to be able to get it if there's a crisis. We saw that at the start of COVID, when all the shops closed and you couldn't get anything for weeks because everything was completely shut down. Again, with this self-sufficiency, you'll know that I've been producing my own compost. I've got those 3 big bins of compost merrily breaking down now as we speak. So hopefully next year you'll see that actually come out and go onto the garden. And of course, as I cut the grass, and later on this year when the leaves start to drop and I collect those up, I'll be starting compost off again for the following years. So yeah, everything's a learning curve. Try it, see what works, see what doesn't. I almost forgot these tomato plants that I've brought out. They are a bit sad looking, they really are. I mean, I am trying to religiously water as often as I possibly can, and alright, they're a bit sad looking, but they're not completely dead. They are still green and producing flowers, but I don't think that they're very happy out here. I mean, this is in shade and will be for quite a while. You can see the shade line there. Everywhere else is in full sun, so I have put them in really the best place that I can to keep them out of the sun as long as I can, but yeah, I'm not convinced that that they're going to work. I've just spotted a tomato, would you believe it? Look at that. So I don't know, let's just see. We'll take it week by week and see what happens with them. Well, now I've sorted out the polytunnel. I've pulled the little red tractor out of its garage. I am tempted to give it a quick run round before it gets too ridiculously hot, just to keep on top of this grass. It might not look that long in the video, and indeed it's not what I would call really long, but I figure just try and keep on top of it. We'll give it a whirl. I'll run a few cuts down and just see how much difference there is, and I'll either continue if it's looking good, or I'll leave it for another week if it's not really long enough. While I'm here, I mentioned compost when I was in the polytunnel. You can see the remnants of where I took off the raised beds. I'm quite surprised how much this grass is breaking down. All three of these bins have been filled right to the top. I don't know how many times now. Must be getting on for 10 times, must be. And yet they do continue to break down. So that's really good. That suggests to me that underneath all of that, nature is doing its thing, and we are going to end up with some decent compost. I will at some point fork them all out and give them a quick turn over and put back in again. I might do a little video of that when I do it, just so you can see what is going on under there, but certainly it looks encouraging. I guess we'll find out in future videos. I'll be doing a bit of maintenance work while I'm down here today, and I just thought I'd show you something. I've just cleaned off the solar panels outside. They were getting a little bit dusty. But while we're here and talking about solar, I just thought I'd show you a couple of things. You can see from the charge controller, I'm hoping you can see, I've got 13.5 volts in the batteries, and it's pulling power from the solar panels to keep the batteries topped up. And I've also got load on. I've got a little rechargeable battery pack plugged into the USB port there. That's recharging batteries out of the trail camera. It's taking power all the time, 24 hours a day, for the Wi-Fi in the cabin, and that Wi-Fi, in addition to being able to run Wi-Fi for my laptop or my phone, provides the connectivity for the CCTV outside. You might remember when I did the solar panel install, I put in some 220 volt mains power sockets on the cabin. So I've got my laptop plugged in there now to charge that up, and I don't know if you'll see this on the screen or not, but it's showing power mode, it's plugged in and charging the battery on the laptop. That's the little trail camera there that I use for my wildlife clips, and as I say, the batteries for that are busy charging away right now. So a cup of coffee has been made, I can have a little bit of a chill, and now I've got a mic, a lapel mic for my phone. I might just do a little video as well while I'm on, which you can see sometime this week. I've just had a quick 10-minute fiddle with the CCTV at the front of the cabin. You might remember when I installed it on the roof up here, just on this batten that supports the solar panels. But you'll also remember from previous videos, I've had a right pain with crows. They just seem to love this roof, and particularly this little corner here for some reason, and they're using it as a snack stop to get water out of the rainwater collection system. So rather than having the CCTV send me alarms every 5 minutes because the crows are on this bit of roof, I've just moved the camera onto the front of the cabin. I don't know if you can see that little blue light. That tells you that it's picking something up. So it's recording me while I'm recording the camera. Bit bizarre. So yeah, I've just done that. I'm going to have a quick run up with the little red tractor on this wooded side of the field, just to see how it gets on. I don't know if you can hear in the background, there's a house across the fields there. The alarm's just gone off now. We're having power cuts this morning for some reason. Mains Electric's been going on and off a couple of times. Seems to be a local problem rather than a national problem, and it is literally just for minutes rather than hours, but it kind of just proved the point that power does go off. So it's always nice to have some kind of backup, as indeed I have here. There they are, my panels, giving me my power supply for the cabin. Talked about water a lot in almost all these videos from the land. I've just been filling up the watering can in this spray bottle. That's another 20 litres gone from that can, so that'll need filling up. I did say I'd look in when the watering system was due to start. Oh, I don't know if you heard that click on there, but it just did. So that's the pump running in the container. A bit fiddly trying to do this so you can see, but the water is flowing through all the way along. The only thing it doesn't get, unfortunately, are these seed trays, which are now at the mercy of me, turning up as and when required, but all the way along. Same on this side. So actually quite pleased with that. The only problem I've got really with this is knowing how long to leave it on for, so that they get the water that they need. With me not really been here during the week, I don't really know if they're getting sufficient or not. The only way I have of telling is when I turn up and they're all dried out, but the weather has been so fickle, you don't know from day to day whether it's going to be scorching hot or cloudy and miserable. But anyway, main thing is they're getting water, and they're getting water while I'm not here, so that's good. Did a little improvisation on this battery box. I've just got a little old panel sat on top of it to trickle charge. Not entirely sure whether or not it'll get enough charge just from that small panel. I guess time will tell. If it doesn't, then I'll just use the big panel and charge it up once a week, as I do with other things in the cabin. So I'm just getting a bit of this grass down while I've got the opportunity. The sun is quite strong and the rest of the field is in full sun, but this wooded area, side of the field, does get quite a lot of shade through the day, and I guess that's why this area in particular gets quite overgrown quite quickly. You might remember the first videos that I showed when I was trying to get the field cleared for the first time. This area was literally shoulder high in thistles, and you can probably tell a little bit, I think, if I just kind of come down low and see where I've been and where I haven't been. The growth is quite heavy around this area, and as you can see, the majority of it is thistle. So the idea is I just keep cutting it, and eventually the grass will overtake the thistle. Oh, that's the theory anyway. So onward and upward. I've probably got another 15-20 minutes to do, and this side will be done. It's way too hot to tackle the other side right now. I think it'll just scorch. So I'll just focus my attention today on this side. Just been filling up the compost pile with the grass cuttings. I've cut all the way down that wooded side. I'm in two minds. It's a bit of an obsession now, grass cutting, whether to do that centre section or not. I might not. But while I was filling up the compost beds, I took the opportunity to empty the compost toilet. Don't panic, it's not full, I've emptied it already. But essentially that's what you end up with. You end up with a bucket with a bit of sawdust in the bottom. So I'll just give that a quick clean out. Not as though it really needs cleaning out, but it's just habit. I always spray it with some antibacterial spray before I pop it back. So I guess we'll see next year how this composting toilet gets on. But I have to say, I'm using this toilet certainly every week, sometimes twice or three times a week, and I have no issues with it at all. The liquid goes where it should, down that waste pipe. The solid goes where it should, in the bucket. Everything fits together as it should. So I'm just going to pop that bucket back in now, fill it with some of that sawdust material, and it'll be good to go again. So I'll just get on with that, and then I'll have a quick wash up and have a cup of coffee. It is really hot out here, but it is nice. I just really do enjoy been down here pottering about. I can sit outside in the shade, because there's always shade down this section right up until sort of 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. The rest of it though, as you can see, does get daylight, sunlight pretty much all of the day. So anyway, enough talking. I'm going to get myself in the cabin, put the toilet back together, have a quick wash, and then have a cup of coffee. Well, I think you know me well enough. I just couldn't resist doing that middle section, so I've just emptied that final box of grass cuttings and leaving the little red tractor to cool down a little bit. It's so hot today, it truly is. But that middle section's done. To be honest, this wooded side and that middle section, they're the two bits I've kind of quartered the field into sections, if that makes sense. So this wooded area down here and this middle section across here, they're the two that have the most thistles, and certainly the centre section has the most rough ground. So I'm always keen to get on top of those as often as I can. So they're done. There's that far corner over by that where the new pond hopefully will go one day, still to do, and this northern section just over here, it's like a little triangle shape. That's to do, but that's nice and short still. I can wait till next weekend for sure. And really, if I did it in this sun, I think it would just scorch the grass. So that's that job done. That really is it. I won't be doing any more grass cutting. I'll just give the little red tractor a chance to cool down, and then I'll get it popped away. I might just check on the polytunnel now, because the day is rapidly passing, just to make sure it's okay with water. And I think I'll be tempted to give it a little bit before I leave tonight or this afternoon. Well, that's the little red tractor put away. I'm just going to quickly whip into the polytunnel and just check out how much water I need to give. These tomatoes outside, clearly now they're in full sun, and they're getting dried out. They're going to need a water before I go. I've no clue how I'm going to keep on top of watering those during this coming week. I suspect we might have casualties. Polytunnel should be okay. The automatic watering system will take care of most of it. There's just the odd seed trays, and I think every couple of days they should be okay. But I'll give everything a quick water before I pack up, and hopefully that will see them through. I almost forgot. I did promise that I'd get some of these carrots out, so I'll do that now. I won't have the lapel mic on, so I don't know what the audio will be like if I do say anything, but you'll at least see what I'm up to. I've picked the one with what looks like the least amount of carrots in. So let's take this out and see what happens. I've been on top of the watering with these, so I'm guessing they might be a bit wet when I try and take them out of this pot. Yeah, here it comes. Pop that out the way. And let's take a little look. That's not bad size. Hand length. Similar kind of size. Oh, that's a thicker one, look. As I expected, a few little baby ones. It's another one, not a bad size. And again, a little bit thinner, that one. They're all perfectly good though for eating, irrespective of the size. Perhaps that one is on the small side. Yeah, actually there's some quite decent sized. That's a big one, that one. That's well more than a hand length. Last one. Try and keep all of this in the pot. And there we are, job done. I don't think that's bad at all, to be fair. Where is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 there. So slightly less than there was in that other bucket, but I deliberately picked one that seemed to have the least. And we've got some very nice sized ones and a few little baby ones. I'll probably snack on those later. So there we go, there's the carrots revealed. Well, that's the cabin all locked up. It's been scorching today. I've struggled a bit with this heat, I have to say, but field is looking very nice. Grass cut down this wooded area and the little centre section. Polytunnel's all locked up. Hopefully that move of the CCTV will stop me getting endless alerts thanks to the crows. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with these tomatoes outside. I don't hold out that much hope, but there's my carrots ready to go home. So another day done. I really do enjoy being down here. It's hard work, but it's enjoyable work, and somehow, even though it's hard, it is still relaxing. Just help you forget all about the day-to-day mundane stuff. So we'll catch you in another video. Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. just feel free to leave them in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.